I got your wig, ho. Ha ha. You're mad. Miss Wikiana. Miss Wig. Miss Wikiana. Miss Wig.
We all know that reality TV is wild behind the scenes, but what's going on over at Bravo appears to be absolutely insane. According to court documents filed by former star Leah McSweeney, Andy Cohen snorts cocaine with his favorite Real Housewives stars and dishes out favors to his employees who become personal party pals.
And according to Leah, it did not stop with alcohol. The suit also claims that Andy frequently did cocaine with other Real Housewives cast members. And a quote from the lawsuit says, Andy's proclivity for cocaine usage with his employees is well known throughout the Real Housewives franchise. The suit also claims that he intentionally uses cocaine with his employees to further promote a workplace culture that thrives off drug and alcohol abuse.
Claims that Andy Cohen routinely takes cocaine with a group of housewives. Crucially to her suit, claims that he then doles out favors to these people who he, invites into this sort of special group of people he does drugs with.
Someone that was at your wedding said a few of the girls at your wedding were doing things at your wedding.
What kind of things?
Okay, I never said I would do
What are things? Blowjobs, kissing?
Yeah.
Were they kissing? Making out?
Drugs, okay.
Allegedly. I can't control what my guests do.
So she was leveling the threat of drug use against you.
All of Miami
But no one is doing whatever she said.
I think maybe somebody's trying to get me drunk.
Don't do it.
Here's my problem. I never.
Mama Jean says put the damn tequila to Don.
Don't laugh.
No, drink some agua.
She's got a cat.
I got big boobs and I'm sticking to it.
She needs to relax. She's
My life is about bringing a hospital.
all about hospital and no fun.
Do you think Dorinda has a drinking problem?
I'm not qualified to say that, and I'm not going to do that.
But
and
you did
I'm not
say it.
Well, I did say it, and I did mean it when
and
I
it
said
really
it.
hurt, Bethany.
Dorinda,
You really are drunk, as opposed to you are a drunk.
The day after that incident, we went back to the warehouse. You apologized to the wrong person. And you said, "Oh, I thought that was him." You did not know who you had offended. That is fat. No, I'm talking now
because I didn't remember. I was drunk that night.
The implication being, I mean, this is somewhat salacious, but the reason it's in the suit is the implication is that Bravo is an environment, or these set of companies, Bravo, Shared, Warner, other production companies, are an environment where taking drugs is a professional advantage. Therefore, not taking drugs is a professional disadvantage, which means that people who have the disability of alcohol misuse or substance misuse are discriminated against.
I'd say,
I agree.
Yeah,
actually,
I'd say 10 right.
How's this heat?
The heat is, I mean,
it surging?
This part of me feels very hot. The rest of me feels very cold. So I feel very unbalanced.
You sound like you're on heroin or something.
What is that? How does that even sound like?
Know. Isn't it like waves of heat or something like that?
Oh, that's what you're referencing.
I don't know anything about it.
What was it? It was a weird thing you had with Cameron Diaz. Sweetie, you need to wipe your nose a little. There was a weird thing you had with Cameron Diaz.
Again, it's like an acid. It's what I imagine an acid trip to be like.
What you imagine. Have you ever done acid?
No.
Really?
No.
Well, it's time. We're doing it tonight.
Oh, please.
Yes, we are.
No.
You're coming over after the show. No, you are coming over after the show.
Yes, I'm coming over first.
Okay, we're going to drop
some food. No, we're
No, I
food.
know.
What's the hardest drug you've ever tried? Oh, Molly. Molly. Yeah. Yeah. You do pretty good. You don't. I've never seen you wrecked by anything you've done. You wake up the next morning, you're making a waffle in the hotel lobby, and you are good to go.
Yeah, you're right. I am very resilient.
You are good to go.
I'm a good partier. I know how to party.
Is Andy ready for that? Is Andy ready for his son to know who he is? Because the Andy I know would hit up Grindr and go on 3 or 4 Grindr dates an evening. And these are people that are pretty reputable sources. I don't even want to talk about the drugs and the partying. Not now anyway, but we can get back to that. I can accuse him all I want. I'm not talking about marijuana. I'm not talking about legalizing. I'm talking about like things that I've been accused of doing and he allowed to happen while he was doing the same things that he's accusing me of or allowing other people to accuse me of. Is this really a spokesperson? Or is this just somebody spiraling until all of a sudden, oh my God, you found Jesus? No, good luck now explaining this to your kids. Just good luck. Because if I had a choice, I had good parents like his, I would have made different decisions. I'm not saying you're immune to it when you have wonderful parents because everybody grows up differently. But I'm saying I didn't stand a chance. He could have given me a chance. But he didn't. I gave him over a decade. But he didn't want the truth. But now you're going to have to look at it from my perspective, Andy. And you being the last to know is on you now.
I've never said this before, obviously, but both times I did the show, right before we went live, Andy Cohen privately asked me in an office in Embassy Row, which is the production company that does that shit show, if I wanted to do blow. All right, I've never had a drink in my life. You guys know I'm no prude, but I'm like kind of a straight edge. I thought he was kidding the first time. Just so you know, Jimmy Kimmel or Seth Meyers has never asked me to do blow before going on the show. No one from The View has ever asked me to do blow before a show. So I was hoping he was kidding. So the second time I do the show, same thing. So once again, we're alone in an office in Embassy Row, and he's like, you wanna do some coke? And I'm thinking, he's serious. Like, so I know trust me, he's gonna say he was kidding and everything. No, he was asking me to do cocaine with him. That made me very uncomfortable. It was the two of us in a room. Michael Davies was nowhere to be found. No one was there from Bravo. And that's why I don't do that show.
If Andy were to apologize.
Oh my God, he's too busy. Allegedly. What? I don't have one F left to give, not one.
I understand.
You could give me $1, I wouldn't buy an F. I don't have one F left to give.
So.
What do you think about Leah McSweeney's allegations against Andy Cohen, basically saying that he did coke with housewives and then sort of in return almost they got favorable edit and it was just a better thing to do?
Nobody gets a good edit on that show, that's for a fact. And Andy doing coke, I know because I've partied with him hundreds of times in my business, in my house, in New York. I've never seen anything like that.
You've never seen him do it?
I would categorically say no, he wouldn't do that. I know for a fact. In fact, I know for a fact he wouldn't do that. So
you think she's just fabricating it?
Anybody can say anything, can't they?
But for what reason?
I don't know. Why don't you ask her? That's a good question.
Well, she was in front of me. You know, I'm asking you though, like, she's saying all of these like pretty big allegations, and I wonder why.
That's exactly what they are, allegations. Nothing concrete. I think it's bullshit. As I say, I know Andy Cohen very well. He does his edible or whatever he does. But no, he never does that stuff.
Right. Okay.
I've seen others do it, but not him.
Not him?
Sure.
Who else you seen do it?
I'm not telling you that. And not me.
Right. She also said that she felt pressured to drink. And Leah. And then when she didn't, she thinks that she sort of suffered the consequences.
I've been on that show, and like, you drink if you want to drink. Well, who's pressuring you? I don't get that. You're responsible for your own actions.
She thinks producers like coerced cast to get her to try to drink, and it's a better show if everyone drinks. I think we can agree to that.
Not necessarily. You see me act like an absolute idiot, and I'm always sober. How about that?
Well, you're one in a million, you know? What do you make about Rachel, Raquel, whatever? What do you make about her lawsuit against Tom and Ariana for revenge porn, like recording revenge porn and sharing it?
That's ridiculous. I think if you don't want to have somebody share your porn, then don't send it to your best friend's boyfriend, right? No?
Well, she didn't. It was a FaceTime that she didn't know was being recorded, and then Tom recorded it against her, like she didn't know.
I have to go.
And then he shared it, and Ariana found it and shared it with the castmates.
Well, she didn't share it with me.
Right.
Why did she leave me out? I don't get it.
Goes on to claim that Cohen engages in cocaine use with housewives and other Bravo celebrities that he employs, and has a proclivity for cocaine usage with his employees. Cohen tends to provide housewives with whom he uses cocaine with more favorable treatment and edits, she claimed. So that's from People magazine. There's a 109-page document.
Yeah.
I just feel like all of this is gross.
It is gross, and I feel like we're going to see more of these stories come out with, you know, Bethany coming forward with this reckoning, and I will tell you.
Even Kathy Griffin.
I know.
Did you see Kathy Griffin? She was on Page 6 yesterday.
Well, that's something I think she had said a long time ago. The thing is, it's like, as a longest running housewife out there, and somebody that has a very close relationship with Andy, I have never seen him do drugs. He has never offered me to do drugs. We never talked about doing drugs. He is the sweetest, kindest man and cares about every one of us. Every one of us. If she was worried about her sobriety and that was important to her, and she knew she was getting on a show where there was drinking and whatever, that's a choice that she made. Nobody forces you to drink alcohol.
Yeah, and
nobody can force an adult to do alcohol.
And if she's newly into her sobriety and she knew she would be triggered by other people drinking alcohol,
then she should have chose her mental health and sobriety and not fame.
Yeah, and I think that and then done it multiple times, because
there's plenty of housewives that are sober and continue to work on this show, on all these shows.
Yeah, Candy, Margaret, Phaedra, etc.
But I can't handle people that can't take responsibility and accountability.
Truthfully, what Andy does on his personal time is his personal time. I can assure you, he has never been the type that would ever want to do something with another housewife. He knows we're all crazy.
He's smarter than that.
He is smarter than that. Like, nobody's saying
that. That's why he's so successful, because he's smarter than that. And
yeah, he knows. Even the ones and by them saying even the ones he's close with, like, he's never like I'm close with a lot of people that he's very close with, and he's never offered any of them cocaine.
Of course, I've known Andy for years. And is not in his character, and I've never ever seen in the years that I've been doing The Housewives any drug abuse.
Is it about me?
It's about what Andy's talking about.
It's about cocaine. Who does coke and who doesn't do coke?
Yeah, I don't think anybody here wants to do that. You have social lives and we party and whatever happens. But if you want to go,
well,
we can
I don't. So I mean, whatever you're going to say, I do not. I do not.
Well, that's Dorinda. Just
I don't.
Stay,
I don't.
Stay.
I don't. Why are you insinuating that you know I do drugs? That's a Everybody horrible knows you thing. do drugs. I don't do drugs. Everybody How would I knows. do all these drugs and stuff when Hannah lives with me? I'm home every night. I'm in the.
Dorinda, just drop
I
it.
don't think you
Just
should
drop it.
drop
We
it.
decided
Drop
we're
it.
not
Okay.
going to go there. Okay.
So-
just drop it.
I didn't remember. I was drunk that night.
You should have said, Dorinda, stay home.
Did you know that she was that drunk before the dinner?
It escalated because we had another drink right before dinner. I didn't know, and I've seen her drunk before, and I didn't know how far it would go.
You should have stayed home.
I know.
Why
I wish
didn't you
I
stay in
did.
the
I've seen
room?
her.
Why did
I
you
wish
have to
I
go to
did.
the...
So we got to start looking for other people. All right. So it's not
Or a
Anderson.
throuple situation.
You and this threesome.
Well, you put it in my
You see
head,
what happened when you
Sherry.
open up the door? When you open up the door?
exactly. See that?
You can't get it out of your head.
Men are filth. Tonight we learned that Joe Gorga watches porn while driving, which might be the only thing that's more dangerous than talking about Louis in front of Teresa. But we're about to get specific about the size of his stick shift as we play Is It Bigger Than Tarzan?
Lucky girl, she got married to a boy like you. She'd kick you out if she ever knew about all the.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Do you ever wonder, like, who else is fucking your man?
Your body like this. Your body like this. Your body like this. Your body like this.
I'm so tired of all your fighting.
Your body like this.
Just come over and do the
Joe Gorga. Hey, Joe Gorga.
What's up, Andy?
I saw you fully naked this season. I rewound it. I was like, Joe Gorga's dick. It's nice. It's nice. He keeps talking about how nice it is. So I was like, this looks good. I'm sure.
Isn't it pretty?
No, he's got a pretty
Get
dick.
some attention.
Can you have this conversation all night?
Is there anything you want to apologize to me for?
Andy, I am so sorry that we haven't met sooner and we'll never be separated again.
All right. There's nothing else to say.
I am dating.
All right. Back to the phones. Caller, what's your name and from where are you calling?
Hi, this is Sasha from New York, and I have a question for Tyson.
Okay.
Many people have been asking about why did you put out Boycott Bravo, but more importantly, to talk about the discrimination and the disparate treatment of Black women in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say that I've been in the industry for quite some time now. And you constantly hear, not just about my situation, you constantly hear about the unfairness in the pay amongst men and women of color in the industry. And there's no difference in the reality space. There is difference in pay. And
let's talk about that, Nene. Let's start from the top because I want to give you your propers. As a person who doesn't get oftentimes to watch the Real Housewives or Bravo, I have always known that your name was synonymous with Bravo. I mean, you were one of the real success stories. I mean, out of nowhere, you came and started this genre. Everybody started saying, you got to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. All the women in my family, everybody. And for Black women, they have followed you. You're immensely popular. You have this big platform. And so let's talk about how you use this platform, use your influence to make a difference when it matters most. What I endeavor to do for these, 30 minutes to an hour is to have a serious conversation, not only about why you put out the post Boycott Bravo, but more importantly, a conversation about that discrimination and disparate treatment of Black women in Hollywood and the fact that even though there's a gender pay gap between men and women in Hollywood, it is exacerbated when it comes to women of color, not only in film, but also in television and also in reality TV. So I want to start right there, Nene Leakes. You were one of the original Housewives of Atlanta. You and Bravo, y'all seem to both come up in the American conscious level together. So talk to us about why you are saying boycott. Explain it to America.
Well, first of all, I want to be able to say that we did come up together. I feel we came up together. And I'm not saying boycott Bravo forever. I am basically saying that there is a conversation that needs to be had with Bravo. I would love to have this conversation privately. I'd love for all of us to come to the table and talk. There are some things that need to be discussed, and I don't want to be able to say all of those things right here on this platform for everyone to hear and see. But I was a part of a genre. I did start a genre. I did open up a door, and not only did I open it, I held the door open for others to have the same opportunity that I had. And I think the treatment that was happening behind closed doors that most aren't privy to was not a fair treatment. And this is a cry for help, for Bravo to sit down at the table and have a conversation with me and my team to correct some of the things that were not done properly. And that is what this is about. So I know a lot of the fans who have tuned into Bravo over the years, they love some of the shows that are on Bravo. They love the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm not saying don't ever watch these shows. These are great shows. I'm saying that we need your help. And we're asking that Bravo take a seat and sit down with us and have a conversation. Let's correct some of the things that have happened. And that's what this is. So we're not saying don't watch Bravo forever. We're not saying bash Bravo. We're saying we're asking for Bravo to have a seat with us. Have a seat with you, Ben. Have a seat with Brian Friedman. Have a seat with me. Have a seat with our team. Let's work through some of the issues that we're having behind the scenes.
I want to know is on a brand standpoint, do you feel like it messed up your brand or your reputation or anything, the whole drug scandal that happened last season?
You know what? Honestly, Demi, I believe that I thought that was horrible. And that's one of my complaints about the network. And I feel like the entire pretense of the show is to diminish me as an executive producer, to denounce me, and to, you know, make sure they don't include me. I thought that the drug allegations was just a little too far. That's when I knew that they were really trying to, not only were they trying to push me out, they were trying to tarnish my reputation and make sure I could not work in Hollywood. It's already hard as a Black woman in this business. I've never done drugs before in my life. And the fact that they would allow someone to make those allegations and do it on air, make those allegations, follow that story when they knew they were false. I just thought it was horrible. And that just gives credence to what I'm saying. Like, why would they allow that? And now not getting a contract, I believe they knew that they were trying to push me out all along. I just didn't get the memo. I just didn't know it.
So let's talk about that moment, because that was like just crazy. Like, I mean, for you to have to live through that, didn't it affect you personally though? Like, because you said it was
absolutely
okay. Because
it absolutely did.
But personally, how did it affect you?
I think it affects you. I mean, I'm a mother before anything. I'm a woman, but I'm a mother, and I'm a mother of teenage kids, and that's not my life. It affected me because I believe wholeheartedly in being authentically me, and I've always been that. So to even allude that I will do drugs off camera or I have this other lifestyle, to me, that's not who I am. I mean, it's like they try to throw these stereotypes out about successful Black women. I've never done drugs. I've never been, that's not my life. So yeah, it broke me down as a woman. It did, because I go against that. That's not who I am, and it did.
Well, that's great to hear. We're actually happy to hear you, because that was like my biggest thing that I wanted to, my tripod, that I wanted to ask you about was about the drug scandal, because I mean, it seemed like I liked when Andy asked, did anyone in the cast even believe that it was true? No, it seemed like no one believed it. So that was good to know. What did that feel like to know that no one in the cast really honestly truly believed that you would ever do drugs? Did that feel good?
That I don't know that they carry much weight with me, because you have to think this is a medical show, and to take it a step further, this is a show where we affiliate to doctors. You have to think I also was a drug rep, a pharmaceutical rep, so they know that that's just far from who I am. The fact that that was even a story was crazy to me that any of these doctors, their wives, their family members would go along with that, being associated with this show, with what I created. That couldn't have been further from the truth. So them saying, I don't believe it, I mean, it should have been shut down. They should have said from the beginning, this is BS. This is not who we are as women that are connected to medicine, whether it's our husbands or us, not like drugs. That was just too crazy for me. That was a little too crazy for me.
Someone in the comments just said they fired Phaedra for it, but not Quad. How do you feel about that? That's intense.
I felt like it was a double standard. I thought it was a double standard. And, you know, what people were calling for the firing of Quad, I wanted the other executive producers to take drug tests. I'll be honest with you, because I felt like it wasn't about the cast at that point. As a Black woman, I worked hard to be where I am, and I would not lose it all on drugs or anything like that. So I just really felt like, you know what, they are really attacking everything I've built. And it bothered me. So I thought it was a double standard, because they didn't hold her accountable. And not only did they not hold her accountable, they allowed her to do media interviews saying that I showed up to work on drugs. Now, why would they allow her to say that? Later it retracted the story from OK Magazine. But I thought that, for me, that let me know, you know what, this production company is really out for blood.
The perfect storm of it's cool till it's not. And the combination of the strike with me crashing a funeral. So Andy says to me something about it, and I don't, and again, this is me being 1,000%
I know,
honest.
and I heard you on a show kind of punt the ball to him when this came up.
Well,
because you weren't going to lie, and you just said, listen, Andy, you answer the question.
No, Andy, because he was trying to make it like the show. But I think
he was making it like I knew what was going on.
No. But I think that first of all, Bobby liked the show. It was part of our experience. It's good content.
Irrelevant.
It
Yes,
doesn't have anything
all
to do
of
with
it.
you being a good person, loving your husband, and having a fear.
No, but
You
irrelevant
wanted
to
it
me
filmed.
knowing or not.
You wanted
No.
it filmed too.
No. Okay, let me tell you what happened, okay?
Okay.
Someone who worked for me, I'm not going to mention his name.
Andy tells me Jill says Bobby would have loved when he was. Hold on, let's get real. Andy said to me that when Bobby was in the hospital, or when he was sick, that you said to him he would love you to cover this or to see this or something like that. He loved the show, and that you wanted there to be coverage of, like, not meaning him being very sick, but him when he was ailing.
To do something do something. That is true.
Okay,
that is true.
He said that.
It was an overall thing, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to just tell you this, and
Okay,
then,
but then
you know this is the truth.
Hold on, but then he said in the thing, I'm just telling you what he said, then you can
I
respond.
got you.
Then he said, Jill said you can bring the cameras to the funeral. That's what he said to me.
Not
you
half.
said.
Okay. If that was true, would they need a release from me to get my voice on camera?
No, I know, and I've heard you say this
Would
before.
they need a release from me?
Yeah. Yes.
Do they have one?
I don't know.
I will tell you, they do not.
Because Barry Bernstein also says the same story Andy said.
And I had dinner with Barry, and you know what Barry said to me?
What?
Want to know the truth? When I asked her, I said, you know they don't have a release on me. She goes, I know. I said, so why did they do it? You know what she said to me? They counted on you not suing.
I believe you, but
if I tell you there's no release, then you have to know I didn't know. If I'm telling you there's no release.
No, I don't have to know, but if you tell me that you didn't know, I'm going to believe you. I don't care about a release.
No, but I want you to know, because I'm Allison.
We don't need Allison. I love you. She wasn't even going to be down here. Like, we're not.
No, but she was at the.
It's okay. I don't need it. What is it? She's.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
A lie detector test.
When I saw you walking out of the funeral in the procession. When I was walking out after we had the funeral, and I was walking out, and I saw you, I died. I had no idea you were there.
Jesus Christ, that's brutal for me.
Like, hold on. Let me tell you what happened, because I saw you. My heart dropped. I couldn't believe you were there, and you looked drop dead with this black hat and this black suit, and I was so happy. And I said, oh my God. I didn't know you were in Aspen. I knew nothing, right? You were there, and I was so happy. Okay. Then I come downstairs, and someone who works for me, I'm going to say who, or actually he didn't work for me then, but he was a friend, says to me, Bethany wants to talk to you before she leaves. And he grabs me, and I walk over.
Who does this? Somebody that works with the crew?
A friend of mine who used to work for me, and now he's a friend. Doesn't matter. I'm telling you the truth, and I've got okay. So my sister was with me. My psychic Jen was there. Allie was with me, and he was with me. And he says, Bethany wants to talk to you before she leaves. And I was so happy that you were there. And I came over. Now, I did see cameras. There was TMZ. I mean, I had no I didn't know who the cameras were.
Oh.
I wasn't on a mic. You were on a mic. I didn't know that.
Fascinating.
So when we hugged and all that, and I'm wearing bug glasses, you have to know I'm a little vain. If I knew I was being filmed, I wouldn't have looked like that. I still would have had makeup on.
I need a minute. I need a minute.
You need to know I had no idea.
Okay, I literally, if I believe you,
and hand to God, should Bobby
give me a second because I first didn't want anything to do with it, and I didn't want to do with it, and then yes, I thought she wants them there, and I know you, and I thought, and by the way, you weren't upset that it.
I didn't sue them because I wasn't upset with the way they handled it.
I'm going to get to how I really feel about that, and it's going to be fairly explosive, and it's going to be a fairly big statement in a second because I got to process that. Because if I were home, I'd be like on a couch thinking, I had no idea.
Bethany.
No, because what you're saying is I fucking ambushed a funeral for reality television.
Well, that's what Bethany. That's what Ramona was saying. Is
of course,
I had no idea the cameras were going to be there.
Forget the other. Okay,
no, I'm just saying that nobody knew. I didn't know.
Right. Okay. So,
and by the way, you know when I found out? When it aired. When the commercial started in January, and I saw myself and you on every single fucking commercial for the entire season was me and you making up.
Disgusting.
And I had no idea.
It's disgusting.
I
love you. I don't need Al. I love you. Stop.
Okay,
right
you
now.
need, but you need to know that. Hand to God.
Stop with Allie. You're alone and with me, and that's it. Okay. So, because I'm going to lose my train of thought. So, that's disgusting.
It was disgusting, Bethany.
Okay, that's disgusting. That's literally the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Now, just know that I don't know if I would have gone to the funeral if we weren't shooting. I don't know. I don't know what I was going to do.
Fair enough.
Only because it was a spectacle and it would have been a thing. And
Fair enough.
I don't
but
know.
I thought you
I don't
were
remember.
There for real.
I don't remember. No, I'm saying it's the same thing we're saying this whole time.
I know. You don't know what's real and not real.
Yeah,
I know that.
Okay, so I'm saying the truth. I don't know. But once it got going, I knew that it would be so compelling and an amazing, interesting moment. And it, again, like seeing Allie, it was totally real. When I saw you, I mean, I loved Bobby and it was real. I don't know, just like I don't know that I wouldn't go to someone else's, me going to a funeral that would have become a circus because I'm going there isn't necessarily what I would do. I would have gone to the Shiva, no question.
By the way, I believe you when you think I would have thought because I was okay with it. Had I known about it, I might have been okay with it.
No, exactly. You might have done it. And I wouldn't have blamed you.
I had no idea, and that's why there's no release because nobody ever called me after. I didn't know about it till it aired, and Barry said that they counted on me not suing because that I'm, as they say, thirsty to come back and this and that. Wow. Which wasn't true, but I don't want to bite the hand that fed me. Bravo was good to me. I felt that they handled it respectfully. The fact that I didn't know or did know, the audience saw something that was a beautiful moment. I was definitely taking advantage of.
You know how? Because that's an ambush on me. If I show up to a funeral in a black hat and glasses and a dress and get out of the car and you say, "What the hell are you doing here?" That would be that would be the worst thing. It's just a disaster. The whole thing is disgusting. And
it could have gone that way because I didn't know, and I could have been "What are you doing here?"
That's just disgusting, and it's embarrassing, and it's why when I got together with Paul and he could see with a clear mind, he was like, "What the fuck are you doing here in the sewer?" And it's really disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. That's disgusting, and I apologize because it was a spectacle and a circus, and yes, there's the lines are blurred, but I want to move on.
So that's why. So now you came to the Shiva call, right? Not knowing that the funeral was filmed.
So I'm thinking you wanted us at the funeral. Now you're making a big deal that I was filming after the Shiva. Exactly. Who cares?
Because I had no idea you filmed the thing. So now I'm like, wow, this is off the record, right? We're going to keep this quiet. And you didn't say anything otherwise. And then when I saw the show, you were wearing the same silver jacket. And I'm like, oh my God, she left my house and went to film. After we just had this real moment. So nothing's real.
I get where you're coming from 100%. And it
I'm
was
glad
real.
You do.
And it was real. But now you understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying.
And I'm happy that you know now what really happened. That's why I'm saying you don't always know what you think you know.
I thought you wanted the funeral to be covered and you did admit that
I did want the funeral covered, but not without me knowing about it.
Right. Okay. But did you ask for them to cover it?
We asked them if there was, I think, the Shiva. We wanted to have the girls come over for Shiva.
The person who worked for you called them and said she would be open to
doing Shiva. And you know what happened? You want to hear how horrible it is? You ready?
That's 50 Shades of Grey, though. A person saying you're welcome to the Shiva, not the funeral.
The point is knowing and not knowing. I didn't know that you were there to film. I had no idea. I thought you were there for real because I didn't know the cameras were there.
That is an ambush, right? Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't know.
My head is so crowded.
No, but let me tell you about the Shiva, and this is what hurt me also, is that I invited the girls over, and they wanted to film it. I didn't care if they filmed it or not. They wanted to film it, and I said, well, you can't really film the real Shiva. That's not okay.
No,
it has to be on Friday after
the fake
whatever.
Shiva. This is a fake housewife
When they
Shiva.
found out, when the girls found out that you filmed, because they didn't know you filmed either, by the way, miss. Okay, your co-stars, and they told you this. They didn't know that you were bringing cameras to Bobby's funeral. When they found, listen,
who the fuck tells them? Who cares?
Hold on. When they found out, you know what they said to Bravo? We're not going to Jill's to shoot Shiva. And I was hurt because I'm like, wait a minute.
That's also not real. It's more bullshit.
No, but it was okay.
You
When
meant
I said to Bravo, right? You're not on purpose. What I'm saying is, I wanted Bobby's funeral to be covered in some way that he passed. Not the funeral. I wanted his passing to be recognized on the show, even though I was off the show. And coming to pay their respects at a Shiva call was the way to do it.
Funeral light.
And they told me they wouldn't do it, and they didn't tell me why. They just said that they couldn't come on Friday. Period. That was it. When it all happened and came out, and I
slow
called.
down so people really understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I understand, but slow down.
I would have liked the girls to come over on that Friday afternoon after real Shiva was over to film, just coming to pay their respects, to say that Bobby passed, how great he was, talk about memories, show a little bit of footage, and the end.
Okay.
I wouldn't get paid. I didn't ask for any money, ever. I just wanted that covered.
Okay.
When they called me back, the producers said, the girls can't come, they're busy.
Wow.
Okay? This one can't come, Sonia can't come, Ramona can't come. I was hurt. It is what it is. Now, fast forward, I see the commercial of you and me, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, my God.
With me realizing that I was on national television and I was lost at sea for 21 hours, and everyone thought I was lying, and the network did nothing to defend me. We were on a boat with a bunch of housewives and production, 2 life vests on the boat, and it was a disaster. We thought we were going to die. And, of course, the network scurried together to get a meeting, be really nice to us just to make sure that we didn't say anything. This has happened to people on Project Runway. They're being threatened to be sued for $10 million if they ever think of using their own designs.
I'm with Jay McCarroll, the season 1 winner, at the Oyster Bar at Grand Central Station here in New York, going through his winning contract. And we have 2 copies. We're going through it simultaneously, and we both reach page 11 and look up at each other with wide eyes, saying, and I look at him and I say, you can't sign this. He said, I won't sign it, because it said that whatever Jay McCarroll earned from that point forever, 15% would go to Miramax. 15% of his design work, his teaching work. If he worked at McDonald's, it would be 15% forever. So it ended up being a huge humiliation for Miramax to have the winner of the show turn down the winning. But he did, and I was proud of him. So when they came back and said there will be a season 2, I said, well, good luck, because you're not doing it with me, based on this. So once again, they said, oh no, we'll get rid of all this, and there will be no strings attached. So let's fast forward to season 13. I am at the Met, the Metropolitan Museum dining room, where we had our lovely lunch. I'm in the dining room with Sean Kelly, the season 13 winner, and Alexander Knox, one of the season 13 designers, who I actually didn't want on the show. And I didn't want him on the show because he had not yet graduated from design school. I said, what do? You win season 13 and you go back to be a senior? He said, yeah. I said, it shouldn't work that way. Don't do this now. Well, he did. So I'm with Sean and Alexander looks very perplexed. What's the matter? He said, I don't know what to do for my senior thesis. I said, well, it's easy. Take the bright spots, your best moments in season 13, and extrapolate, explore them further. He said, I can't do that. I said, why? He said, because we're not allowed to. I said, what do you mean you're not allowed to? We're not allowed to have access to anything that we did on the show. The Weinstein Company owns everything. I said, what? So I left the lunch. I wrote an email to all the people in this sphere, Weinstein, my agent, my lawyer, Lifetime, Sarah Ray, our showrunner, and I said, I just heard this at lunch. Is this true? Or has there been a misunderstanding? And I hear back from Harvey's right hand that, oh no, this is very much true. So I wrote back a very thoughtful and succinct email saying that I hope you will understand why it is that I can no longer be associated with this show. Nothing about you've deceived me for 12 years or 12 seasons, you're a bunch of lying, deceptive assholes, nothing like that. Just, I'm sure you will understand why I can no longer participate. Well, I'm happy to say that all hell broke loose. And largely in the following vein, how dare you tell us how to operate this show? And I said, I'm not telling you how to operate the show. You operate it any way that you want to. I'm merely saying I won't be part of it. So there were many weeks of negotiations between the Weinstein Company lawyers and my lawyer. And my lawyer basically said, as much as I love hating on the Weinsteins and dealing with them in this capacity, this isn't going to happen. And I said, okay, then we're no worse off than we were before. But then something did happen. They changed the contract for season 14. And my response was, that's all well and good, I'm happy to hear it, but I want those conditions retroactive through season 2. And my lawyer said, that's never gonna happen. And it did.
Wow.
So I very proudly went back to season 14, and let's not get overly enthusiastic about things, because wait till you hear. We shoot season 14, it's done. We segue into Project Runway Junior, which I love. If I had a choice between seniors and juniors, I take the juniors any day. I love those kids. So we do Project Runway Junior, and we invite 3 mentors from Project Runway. Amanda, Nick, and Sanji from various seasons of the show. And in a behind the scenes, I say to them, so how did you feel when you got the email from the Weinstein Company saying that your intellectual property is now back and you own everything? What email? I said, what? We haven't received an email. So the Weinstein Company person, whom I alluded to earlier, is on the set, and coincidentally my agent's on the set. So I walk into the production room, I call them both out, and I say to the Weinstein person, whose name is Barbara, how do you explain this? And she said, oh, the letter's going out later this week. I said every expletive imaginable about how dare you deceive me like this. And I said, were it not for these kids, I would walk off the set and I would never come back. But because they are here, I'm not holding them hostage. But how dare you? How dare you do this? It was awful. Awful. So they lied. I mean, what do you need to do?
Yeah.
Sue them? I'm not going to do anyway.
So that was the end of that?
Yeah.
Oh, I told you I wasn't going to make you relive. You said you didn't want to relive it again.
Oh, but there are tons of things I haven't said. There are tons of other things.
For next time. Yeah, because it's quite a, and people don't know any of this stuff.
But also, what's with these people who just lie to your face?
Yeah, I don't understand that. To me, like, I don't even understand lying. Like,
I don't either.
even understand it. Life is so much easier when you just say what's true.
When you lie, you have to remember what you said.
Right, it's more
when
work.
you tell the truth.
These scare tactics that these big, massive, multi-billion-dollar companies have, acting like it's a good idea for you to give away part of your business because you gave away your entire life on TV, exploiting your children who will experience emotional damage later and bullying in school that one could never envision. I mean, fame and money. I mean, it's exciting, it's enticing. Who wouldn't want it, right? There's nobody that can understand what it means to exploit your life like this. And what if someone does something that they really regret? They say one word that they really regret. They have to live that for the rest of their lives. What if they're on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and they leave after 2 episodes having said something dreadful? They won't be able to get a job. They're completely screwed and they didn't even get paid $1. Like, it's enough. These are people working under horrible conditions because they're not even qualified as actual union labor workers. They're not even good enough to be workers that are supposed to be treated fairly. So the man is going to get away with as much as they possibly can. And to live in this environment where you go on talk shows to be exploited and gotcha, and let me get you to say bad things about somebody else. And your job is to either be winning or losing. You're either putting someone else into the ground or someone's putting you into the ground. It's kill or be killed. It's the Hunger Games. It's the running of the bulls. And that's what rates.
So many people are asking me my opinion about the things that Bethany is saying on her social media about the actors' strike and how it affects reality stars and things of that nature. I'm even getting requests to do interviews. Listen, here's my opinion in a really quick nutshell. Bethany has an advantage that I do not have. So with that said, Bethany can say things and people will get it and they'll understand it. For a very long time, I have said that there's a lot of unfair treatment in different areas of the reality workspace. Reality stars do not receive benefits. They don't have any health benefits, any residuals. There's no union for reality stars. All of those things you see, even with myself, when you see all of the memes and stuff that's out there, the way your likeness is used over and over and over and over again, and you don't get one red penny. I don't get a penny for all of those memes that you say out there. I am a part of Screen Actors Guild, so I do receive benefits on that side. Again, your likeness is used over and over and over and over again. They can run these shows for years and years and years and years and years, and you still will not get a dime from it. So I rest my case. I don't want to say too much more about it. I will let you guys see Bethany's video. I feel like she will be supported a lot more than I would be supported. So good luck, everyone.
And the fans were actually kind of upset that you were edited out of the trailer, the flashback. I mean, people were pretty heated.
Yeah. I thought that was funny, and I thought that was kind of crazy to do. But I also think that people sometimes use reverse psychology.
Okay.
And so maybe they were thinking if we edit her out, maybe they'll make more people tune in the next week. So that's how I try to think of it. Maybe they were like, okay, we're going to edit her out, and then people tune in next week to watch. I mean, I don't know. But I think it was a bad move to do.
Do you think it was production being shady?
I don't even think it was production, because production only do what the orders are that they get from the top. So somebody from the top ordered that to be done, and they did what they were told to do.
On Andy Cohen. So we came up together. He was a network executive, became a reunion host and a talk show host, and I had my own trajectory on a parallel path, working my way through the entertainment industry from a different side. We've shared many beach walks and secrets, and I was the highest paid housewife of all time. I rated, and I am in a position to discuss a possible union and fair and equal treatment for all reality talent because I'm not disgruntled. I don't have my own agenda for myself, something I'm asking for. This is not a lawsuit, and this does not have anything to do with just one person or one network. I've always understood that Bravo's Andy's first priority and the housewives. That's the realm that he protects. Those are the secrets that he keeps. The first time I ever heard him say something not directly to me, but in public, was about rewives, when he said negative things about rewives. And then I went on his show and felt ambushed, but that's the name of the game there. There are going to be polls and discussions, and they're designed to kind of make people look bad, produced questions, but that's how you go, promote your products there. You got to take a couple of hits. And I have had opinions on the franchise in particular, and reality TV and in particular, but I haven't felt comfortable really totally expressing that because I didn't want to say anything untoward about Andy or about the housewives, the place that I came from. But I've grown increasingly uncomfortable with certain things. I've been put in situations where I've felt that it wasn't safe. I recently found out that I crashed a funeral, and that was very jarring because it's felt like there is exploitation without compensation for many people. I've now, in the past couple of days, heard stories about people whose spouses have lost jobs and people who have been threatened with contracts that they cannot use their own business and work on their own projects afterwards because the network has to own them. And then, yes, of course, there's the Bethany clause and all of these different things that I'm thinking about that aren't equal and fair, and reality talent isn't compensated properly by and large. And I've run this by lawyers and people that work with unions and heads of the entertainment industry and asked point blank, do you think I'm right? And they have all said yes. So I know that I'm right. And there are over 100 people that have also told me that I'm right who work in this industry. Many of them are scared and threatened and have gag orders, and contracts are being used as weapons. But I want an answer because I deserve an answer. We deserve an answer, and we're going to get the answer we deserve. I did not buy the idiot guide to starting a union in 24 hours, but these are fair. These are ways that talent can understand compensation without having to try to audit a multi-billion-dollar powerful company that hides money in different places and likes to try to pretend that everything equals a show expense so you never get any of the gross. For unscripted talent with shows that make it to air, the minimum should be $5,000 per episode. Talent should receive a 10% raise each season. If the show is a huge success and ratings have increased, it's subject to negotiation or the talent can walk away.
Let's talk about the legacy negotiation, because I have what I think happened. I was not there. I don't know.
I know. And I love listening to your show and listening to what you think.
So I want to hear how close I am. What I think happened is you were an original housewife. You were on for several seasons. Some people were going to be on legacy that came later and haven't been on since the very beginning. And everyone's at different pay grades. When Jill and I started, it was called Favored Nations, and everybody got paid the same.
That's right.
And we fucked that up. I fucked that up for everybody because we went on our own. You're like, I'm going with you. Remember the three blonde? They were going together. Yeah, they were going together. But
okay.
And I was like, you're like, I'm over here.
I was with you all the way.
Right. So now it's a Chinese a la carte menu now. What the salaries are, it's all over the place. Everybody gets different. So you were walking into what I perceive as a new show with a collection of people that are cast as a new show. You wanted to be paid what everybody else wanted to be paid. And so you didn't want to come in where you were, because that was a long time ago before people started getting real money. And they wanted to be thinking that they weren't on a show that just got canceled and that they were still riding with the next season of the show and be where they were. And I think that everybody fucked it up because they should have met in the middle. So they should have come to the middle. And you would have gotten probably more than you were even asking for. I think that they should have come down and you should have all met in the middle. And I think that's why it got fucked up, because you were blamed for it, but I don't think it was really you.
And you know what's so funny?
Am I correct?
Well, not really, but like it's very hypocritical, the networks. They are. They're hypocritical because they say that, you can't talk to the press, but then they do. Like who blamed me for the negotiations breaking down? Where did that come from? Didn't come from me.
What really happened? Who cares who
No,
blamed?
but it does, because then if I respond, like if I talk to you about it right
Could've
now.
been anybody.
No, but then if I talk to you about it now, it's like, oh, she's talking about it. Well, where did it start? They started talking about it, not me.
No, but it could have been one of the girls that said you messed it up. I think it was one of the girls. Who cares? That's
No,
what
it
happened?
wasn't, but it doesn't matter. Well, first
really
of all,
happened?
you know what was in my head? I'll tell you something. When I saw you and we talked about me coming back on the show, and
When
do
we
you
were on
remember
the
what you said to
plane?
me? Yeah.
What did I say? What are you thinking?
Don't do it.
Of course.
What'd you say? Do you remember what you said to me? I remember what you said to me.
I don't know. You don't need it. I don't know.
You said,
Tell me.
Don't do it. You don't need it. What do you need it for? It's not good for you.
It is, in fact, their real lives. So for networks and streamers to be trapping people, not allowing them to do other things, and forcing them to expose their real lives on reality television is unconscionable. Talent gets 10% of their last negotiated talent fee for additional cycles. That means that if a network has a season and decides to re-air that season, talent gets 10%. If a streamer decides to keep that on, talent gets 10% of their talent fee each additional year. Any additional entities airing that show, i.e. Peacock, will also pay 10% to the talent. On shoot and promotional days, talent gets a per diem $100 a day. Now to retroactive. Starting right now, series talent that has not been paid for shows that have been airing with no compensation should receive $5,000 per season retroactively from each distributor. So I should be paid $5,000 per year from streamers and from networks for shows that have aired after the original season. If they don't want to pay moving forward, the content should be taken down, and the content should not be watched or consumed. It should be boycotted. Talent is not required to give any proceeds of their business to a network or streamer, eradicating the Bethany clause. These terms are now the new Bethany clause. Talent should not be prohibited from promoting specific brands on their social media so the networks and streamers can try to garner that income for themselves. Talent shall receive a percentage of proceeds from ancillary merch from the gross. 5% if it's a solo act, 2.5% if it's an ensemble. For other properties, for example, YouTube, which the networks and streamers make a lot of money off of those clips using your name and likeness and talent's intellectual property.
Work with people who have a negative and toxic work culture. You know, of course, I watch the franchise, but it is built on negative and toxic culture. So why not leave sooner? And why did you ever join?
I joined because I had $8,000 in my bank account and a $2,000 a month or $2,600 a month rent.
So the money.
I joined because it was an opportunity. I thought I could maybe be something, and I wanted to be a natural food chef, and I thought I could showcase that. So I joined because of that. It also was a different show then. Don't forget, we were wearing our own sweaters and had no makeup on, and we were just being human beings interacting, and having a conversation in a bar was a dramatic argument. We weren't, we weren't like running into other people's cars, bankruptcies, jail. Like, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. It's really outlandish now. And it evolved. I left after 3 seasons, and I came back because I did miss the connection with the audience and the humor. And yeah, the money was a big part of it as it grew. It was a lot of money, and you couldn't make that anywhere else. And I walked away. The money would have been the reason I stayed. I walked away because I wanted to feel good about myself, and I had gotten to a position where I didn't have to do that.
Are you stunned by the scandals? I feel like every time I look at like an entertainment blog, somebody's going to jail or someone's husband is going to jail.
Well, it's crazy.
What is that?
It's bizarre because in our normal lives, we don't know 10 people that have gone to jail, infidelity.
Well, I do a crime show. I do a crime show. I know 10 people.
No, personally,
but it's a lot, and it's a lot of like fraud stuff.
I know. It's a lot of fraud because I'll tell you why. Because the premise is, and I was the only one in the first season that didn't have money or wasn't pretending to have money or Ferraris or all this stuff that's rented and not even really real. It's all show and no go. So I was down here with no money and being honest about that. But when you have a show that is built on showing wealth, it's important for the people who want to be on the show and want to be famous to show that they're wealthy. So not everybody's wealthy. So if you have to show it, you're going to get jammed up by, by having to find ways to show it.
Question for Kelly. What was your experience like working for Bravo? Would you ever do another reality show similar to Kill on Earth?
Bravo is a very want to speak the truth. I think it's important that I tell
I'm not going to censor you. And this is your,
I think that the Bravo network, based on my experience with Kel and Earth, was a very toxic environment.
I remember you telling me that.
So horrible to me.
That's insane. I can't even imagine that. You're so fucking badass.
I'm gonna be very honest about what happened.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. I never talk about this in public, and it's your podcast, and you're amazing. And I do think like this podcast.
And I do want to hear this story. I do want to hear this story.
I don't really care about Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen, Kel and Earth. Okay. Nobody cared about the show. Let's just be honest. So I was shooting The City, and I ended up on Bravo with this show, and the Magical Elves were producing, and nobody cared. They were like all up on Sarah Jessica Parker's ass because she was doing an art show with like China Chow and Bill Powers
on Bravo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So no one cared about Kel and Earth at the network.
Nobody cared. Like,
at the network.
Nobody came to the set. Nobody.
What about Kel and Earth? Finances, reality.
Reality show, totally real. Finances, $20,000 an ep, 8 eps, $160,000. Hellish experience. Hated working on Bravo. Hated being a Bravo celebrity. I was very nonconformist. They didn't love me. I definitely did not love them. By the time we were shooting, I think the second or third week, I was already going back to MTV and telling them I didn't want to stay on Bravo and I wanted to come back. Got a pilot on MTV. But then Liz Gately and Tony DeSanto, who were the heads of the network, were planning their departure, which affected the pickup of my show.
What was so bad about being a Bravo celebrity in particular?
Well, I think that Bravo treats women like shit, and their messaging is pretty horrifying. And I'm not going to say, like, I'm friends with people that are on the network, some of the people, but overall, I think that the message that they give out, you know, to people is that women are hysterical and out of control and drunk and crazy and jealous.
Amelia, the master manipulator, knows this all too well. She understands that her job as a housewife is not just about entertaining the masses, but about playing the game of power, influence, and survival. As the show progresses, Amelia finds herself entangled in a web of intricate relationships with her fellow housewives. Friendships turn into rivalries, and alliances are tested as they vie for the center stage. Secrets are whispered, scandals are exposed, and carefully constructed facades begin to crumble, revealing the true nature of these women. But Amelia is not one to be outshined. She knows that to remain relevant, she must adapt and evolve. She becomes a master of manipulation, whispering sweet nothings to the right people, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of her enemies, and strategically positioning herself in the narrative that unfolds.
Ew. Like JK, but like maybe not. But thank you for watching. But you hating ass bitches always have something to say. Hating ass bitch, but you're still watching my vids. What? You're so upset. But that's like okay, because have a piece of bread, have a Xanax, relax, because I said what I said.